You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. While I was out, there was some significant recruiting news that affects LSU, obviously. One bit of news came on Thursday, literally as I was boarding the plane to New York. Arch Manning put out his very first ever tweet from his verified Twitter account, committing to the University of Texas. His tweet just simply said, committed to the University of Texas. There's a picture of him throwing a football wearing a Texas shirt. In some ways, Arch Manning's recruitment has actually been kind of refreshing. It's a little bit of a throwback. There aren't and never were lists of 20 schools and then narrowed down to 10 and then his top 8, then his top 5 and committing and decommitting. It was just, guy stayed quiet. He doesn't really put much out on social media, doesn't share much. He's just trying to be an 18-year-old kid. Good for him. I get it. It's a high-profile family. If you're an LSU fan, we've talked about it forever. Realistically, you should have known Arch Manning was never coming to LSU. I don't understand the LSU fans who don't understand why the Mannings have no tie to LSU. Archie's from Mississippi. He went to Ole Miss. He got drafted by the Saints. He raised his family in Louisiana. That's phenomenal. They have no tie whatsoever to LSU. Like, if I were talented enough to be a great athlete and I was drafted by the Falcons, God forbid, and I had athletic kids, should they go to Georgia? Hell no. It doesn't make any sense at all. I actually respect the fact that they've let their kids and grandkids make their decisions, go wherever they want. Go to Ole Miss, go to Tennessee, go to Texas. Do you in life. And I'm okay with that. And the best news for LSU with the Arch Manning story is you don't ever have to see him. If he had gone to Bama and got to play him every year, that sucks. If you'd gone to Georgia and been in the SEC, that sucks. If you'd gone to A&M, that sucks. He's going to Texas. Now, currently, Texas is slated to be in the SEC in 2025, which would be Arch's junior season, or his third year. So, technically, you could see him in 2025, or maybe they're not on the schedule and you never see him. But it's a best-case scenario with him going where he's going. I don't understand the hurt feelings from a lot of grown people about where this 18-year-old is going to go play college football. God bless him. Good luck, man. There's tons of great players and great athletes, and LSU's going to always sign really good ones. And that's okay. I knew, and I think many of y'all, if you're being honest with yourself, should have known that Arch Manning was never going to LSU. So the Tigers have kind of been in the mix, for other players, and some very high-profile players. And among them is Jaden Rashada. And Jaden Rashada, over the weekend, committed to the University of Miami. He was down to Miami and Florida, seemingly, and he picked Miami. But the story was only just beginning with his commitment. Because what's happened since is On3 has reported that Jaden Rashada got himself one heck of an NIL opportunity. Michael Caspino, he's with Forward Counsel out of Newport Beach. He has brokered a lot of high-profile NIL deals. He went on the record and said, quote, Jaden left millions on the table in picking Miami over Florida. Multiple sources from the On3 report. Multiple sources told On3 Rashada agreed to an NIL deal with Miami mega booster John Ruiz for $9.5 million. The same source said Rashada turned down an offer from Florida's Gator Collective for $11 million. Both offers blew out of the water. The Caspino brokered $8 million deal for five-star recruit thought to be Tennessee quarterback commit Nico Amalevia. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. So, that On 3 Sports reports Jaden Rashada got $9.5 million by John Ruiz to go to Miami, and that he left $1.5 million on the table. Well, John Ruiz took to Twitter and said the report by On 3 is inaccurate as it relates to Jaden Rashada. I have never spoken to Mr. Caspino about Jaden Rashada. Mr. Caspino and I spoke about an unrelated player months ago and had a very professional and pleasant conversation. I respect him. Okay, so John Ruiz denies the report by On 3 about the $9.5 million, although he does not specifically say that. The Gator Collective also released a statement, and they said the recent comments by California lawyer Michael Caspino have been brought to our attention. Gator Collective has never had any communications with Michael Caspino about Jaden Rashada or any recruits. Rather, Gator Collective has refused to engage in any dialogue with Mr. Caspino on numerous occasions, as Gator Collective does not approve of his tactics and has no interest in engaging in any activities which violate Florida law and NCAA interim policy and may put athletes' eligibility at risk. So, a couple things. Rashada picks Miami. Report comes out that Rashada got $9.5 million by a booster who is a billionaire who has been very brazen in his approach to NIL. But what happened 2 weeks ago? The NCAA announced that they were investigating egregious NIL accusations, including Miami. Remember, John Ruiz spoke on the record, announced on the record that he spoke to NCAA investigators. So if you're John Ruiz today, you're not quite as brazen. Even though you're a billionaire, you're not quite as brash and brazen because you know the NCAA is snooping around. If you're Gator Collective, are you really going to go on the record about what you're offering for a recruit through your collective's funds with a lawyer brokering these deals? Sometimes with situations like this, you have to ask yourself who has what to gain and what to lose. The only person involved in these conversations who can be completely transparent because he is in no way beholden to the NCAA and is not breaking any laws is the attorney Caspino. He's the one brokering these deals. And the NCAA can't shut him down. They can't touch him at all. So sure, he'll go talk on the record. Because every time he does, every single recruit in the country knows that's the guy that gets 7-figure deals. That's the guy, when he calls, I need to take his call. So, yeah. Do I believe Jaden Rashada did an NIL deal with Miami? Of course. Was it $9.5 million? I don't know. That sounds ridiculous. Maybe it is. Maybe not. I don't know. We got billions of dollars. $9 million doesn't sound like that much. But I don't know. What I do know is this. Arch Manning is committed to Texas. Jaden Rashada is committed to Miami. Eli Holstein's committed to Texas A&M. The number of quarterbacks that LSU, for which LSU's in the mix, is dwindling. Dante Moore is the remaining high-profile quarterback out there. And LSU is in the mix for Dante Moore, who's a 5-star. And maybe they'll get him. But I want to reiterate something which I said last week, and I'll continue to say. Because of the transfer portal, signing a quarterback in every class is no longer necessary. It used to be. It's not anymore. Because if you miss in a cycle, you can still always supplement. LSU added a quarterback who's not guaranteed to start, by the way, who has started 30 career games in the Power 5. There's always going to be an option at LSU to add a transfer quarterback. So maybe you take a shot on an 18-year-old who becomes Bryce Young. Or maybe you get Joe Burrow. Both ways can work now. For what it's worth, Jaden Rashada has also commented, now this is within the last hour, on Twitter. He posted a letter. Any report regarding my commitment to the University of Miami is false unless I was interviewed directly. All reports of my decision involving an NIL deal is inaccurate. I would never make a life or career choice for any monetary value. As I stated in my commitment live on TV, I chose Miami because of the relationship I have with coaches, players, and the direction of the program is headed. I wish not to address the false reports again, as this is a time I wish to celebrate my college commitment and my commitment to my current team and teammates as we look forward to our dream of winning a state championship. At this time, I request no interviews. With all love, Jaden Rashada. I wish I could say I believe the kid. It's just impractical to think that money and NIL is not factoring in. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.